helped him. Windello is a person you want helping you. And Luca's he's on his team. He's on his Gamer Sensei, his main team. But also he's on a playtest group of 17 players, I think it is, called Optimal Gamers, Caravaggio, ZLSJS, who, if he ever qualifies for an event, I don't know what I'm going to call him.
Yeah, I'll just call him ZLS, probably.
We'll ask him for a nickname at some point. Mega Man Music and all that sort of people. Anyway, we're into the game. It's Paladin versus Mage. Luca on the Paladin we were talking about, the OTK.
Yeah, that combo Paladin. So this is a bit tricky for Luker, as he can win through the combo, but it isn't the most reliable way to win. Very often what you do against mages, especially those that aren't teched to clear repeated boards, let's say, without, again, Volcanic Potion, is you can realistically win by just going very wide. Granted, Luker doesn't have the replenishment of the board, let's say, that something like a pure Dude Paladin gets, with Stand Against Darkness, Light Fuse, Stegodon, get a Death Rattle for replenishment, so it can be a lot slower. However, a card like Burgly Bully in this deck can also do a ton of work, so you've just got to find the right spots.
Yeah, this one goes down really interestingly because you usually win through the combo, but you win because you threaten to kill them.
Right.
So you sit there, you end up dropping a menacing Burgly Bully because you've done 16 points of damage and it's going to kill you in 4 turns, and it forces them to use their spells and slow down and mess around, and while they're slowing down, messing around, giving you coins, you set up the combo and then eventually kill them because of it. Plus, after you start going for the combo, it doesn't have to be one turn. At some point, they just can't kill a 2-2 every single turn, and one stays for one turn, and that will be game.
So Fujitora here going to look for the biggest, baddest minions that he can get off of this. Now, Luker does have to worry about a few key cards in the Mage deck, so we're talking Alexstrasza, Dragon Caller Alana, as well as, of course, the Frostlich Jaina, but you can't play around that very much. Jaina either is there or she isn't, and when she comes down, well, you formulate a new game plan, because there's really no way for you to go two ways about it. So, a bit of a difficult matchup in some cases for Luker when the Jaina comes down early.
Yeah, it can be tricky. Of course, she doesn't kill you that quickly. She just takes away your opportunity to kill her by life. So then you have to kill her by alternative methods, which involves setting up the combo. And Luca's got a decent start in this one. He's got 1 call to arms, which is basically the definition of a decent start. But obviously that gets you your card draw, and he hasn't drawn any of the combo, which is good at this point. What you want to do is get your minions as threatening as they can be. I mean, look at, the mage has a million ways to kill a board of 2/1s. But get as menacing as you can be, drop that Burgly Bully, start threatening some dudes, etc.
And right there you can see here, this is precisely what the mage has to do during the game, is to use those very expensive, bulky AoEs on small-ish boards. Because if they don't do that, they'll just get overrun, right? And so what ends up happening very frequently when the mage player gets flooded repeatedly by the Paladin is they just run out of AoE. Granted, they have Blizzard, yes, they've got Meteor, but they're better at dealing with, let's say, a few bulky-ish minions, so mid-range minions, let's say, than they are at dealing with repeated floods of wide boards. So Paladin can win just by sheer hero power, gameplay combined with a few clever developments of minions. So I don't count Luker out of this one, despite the fact that this matchup can easily end when Alexstrasza shows up.
I feel that Luca has jumped the gun a bit here with this Burgly Bully. He saw the Stonehill Defender. He knows there's a decent taunt coming down. And I feel that he should probably have set up better because he hasn't got a good way of clearing this. And he needs that bully to hang around a turn or two, or to at least draw a polymorph. If you're allowing Fuji to challenge it with his minions and his board, that's actually awkward.
I mean, I really don't mind the Burgly Bully. In fact, I'd almost recommend going for the second one in this case. The problem is you're just giving your opponent a chance to get, give you all the coins in the world. But this is actually one of the ways in which the mage just... I mean, it's not easy for them to deal with 2 6-health minions after you've seen one Dragon's Fury.
I definitely agree with playing the second one at 100% if you're going to play the first one. I just wondered if he could have slowed down, but now he's going to get at least the 2 coins he needs. And there is no way Fuji can take this on, having that Divine Shield and the weapon set up there.
Do you ever try to mill by polymorphing ice blocking? That is an extremely slow play, but it does put your opponent on a chance to whiff. And you are removing technically one of the bullies by giving it the 1/1 tag.
So. Obviously, if you do it, you play the ice block first, and then you mill them properly. I think you can. You'll mill 2 cards if you do that. You'll mill 1 now and he'll draw another. And definitely got to be something worth going for. We saw Fluffy go that route, and he only caught a Tyrion, so he didn't get away with it. But it's definitely worth considering, especially if you feel, look, every other route leads to defeat here. And if you come to that conclusion, then you have to mill.
The alternative is, of course, the obvious Meteor, but that does only give Luker more options, which is a little bit... It's going to make you a little bit uneasy here. So he's going to go, it seems like, for the Meteor play, where it gives him some armor, does give his opponent 2 coins,
Yeah.
which is probably just exactly what Luker was looking for. He's eventually going to find some form of a kill, given that the coins can now be used as triggers for the Auction Master Beardo later in the game.
Able, if he wants to here, to put the Righteous Protector down and put a Spike Ridge Steed probably on the Protector. That's actually a better way of protecting the Bully than buffing it with the Steed. It depends if he thinks there's a polymorph there or not, and he's got no real read on that at the moment.
Yeah, and one of the big issues too for the mages, okay, Spiker's Teeth comes down, I'm in trouble. Okay, what's the next worst thing that could happen? Tyrion comes out.
Right.
Oh, well then suddenly, maybe I'm not so well off after all, because if Tyrion comes down and you've used your polymorph, you're in trouble. Fujitora going to run into the exact issue we spoke of. There's only so much AoE you can have in the early stages of the game. He's going to have to pick one up right away off the Raven Familiar, but there's no guarantee. Spiker's Teeth and Luker's deck could stop this.
But Blizzard wins the day on that one. Luka went wide there to stop that mill with the coins as well, because his hand has got no useful stuff in it. Also because he has Sunkeeper Tarim, which can just do a lot of damage here. And again, the damage is unlikely to actually kill Fuji. It's just going to run him out of all the resources necessary to ever win the game.
Yeah, Fujitora here opted to ping the Burgundy Bully. Didn't want to give his opponent the ability to get an extra coin at this point in the game. But Luker can now capitalize on this and just go with a bunch of 3/3s. There is no spell damage source in Fujitora's deck. There's only the Blizzard. But by Blizzarding, he's buying himself an extra card draw. So he's got about 2 more cards needed before he's desperate to remove this entire board, and at some point he can always use Jaina to stall a little bit longer. So even if Therium comes down, it's not the end of the world, but he'll need to clock another AoE within the next 2 turns.
I think you trade in the Loot Hoarder first and see how you feel here. But he's just going to go all face by the look of it.
I honestly think that just ignoring this board is the best way to go.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. He's just going to give himself the chance to win through damage.
And that's you want to put the mage on, like, you know, he's got a Blizzard, right? So he's Blizzarding you this turn. That's a given, right? So knowing that, what does that change about your gameplay? Well, you're going to get your coin off the Burly Bully anyway. You're probably going to have a very slow play on the following turn, and all that's fine.
Yep, and he's not killing you anytime soon. This is the key here. If Fujitora is not killing you, you've got time to not cycle those cards and use them for more damage.
Is
and that's
Fuji
what he's going for.
Fuji's going for Jaina. He thought about going for Jaina, but there's 21 damage on the board. You go for Jaina.
Yeah, Consecration's another 3.
Sometimes you just explode.
Quite often you just explode. There's Consecrations, despite you see, he does actually just explode. There's 4 damage in hand plus 1 from the spell damage. That's 5 plus the 21 you just counted. That would be lethal if he goes for the Jaina.
We'll see what Fujitora opts for. Jaina is the desperation play. I will never win a game if I don't go for these. I think playing Blizzard here is reasonable, given the amount of AoE in your deck. It buys you a turn. You can play the Tar Creeper with it. You protect yourself against a potential follow-up. But he's going to take a risk here, and it's not going to pay off because Luker's got the kill. He just has to figure it out. He just has to figure this one out.
Now, if Fujitora was going to be in this much trouble and he didn't like it, and I know the board state was very different at the time, as Luka has figured it out, I'm pretty sure, he probably should have gone for the mill strategy earlier and taken a totally different approach to this. Yeah, Luka just making sure there's no disasters, using the Pyromancer and the Consecration of the coin and stuff. That's the opportunity to blow your own board up. So he's just going to count this 1,000,000 times.
He knows he's playing 3 spells. The only important part here is making sure that you're actually connecting to face with that Thalnos. So if you go for Steed first on the Thalnos, you can guarantee it's alive for the Consecration, and then you can guarantee you'll have the mana available for the coin Consecration to close out the game. And that is going to be it. He's going to push for maximum damage on the back of a wide board. That, again, the mage couldn't answer.
Yeah, and he's shaking his head there because he's just trying to wake himself up. I think he's annoyed at how long it took him, but there's so much money on the line. If someone asked me my name and offered me 90,000,